He was intelligent, compassionate, devoted to his family, his country, and to his faith. Kevin Jiang wasn't just a student at Yale. He was the embodiment of hope, love, and purpose. But on a cold February night in 2021, that beautiful story ended with the sharp crack of gunfire on a quiet New Haven street. Before we get into this heartbreaking story of love, jealousy, and murder, welcome to Dark Matters TV, where we tell each story with love and respect for the victims and their families. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a case. And if you have been with us and yet to subscribe, go ahead. Your support helps us to shade more light to stories like this. We tell these stories to help understand it better. Now, let's go back to the very beginning. Kevin Jiang was born on 1994 on Valentine's Day in Chicago, Illinois. Poetic in a way, considering how much love he would give to the world in his short life. He was his parents' only child, and though his father was involved in his life, Kevin's mother, Linda Jiang, shouldered much of the responsibility raising him. Linda was a Chinese immigrant who worked tirelessly to give her son a better life, sacrificing her own comfort for his future. And Kevin adored her for it. That mother-son bond would stay unbreakably strong. Through church, Kevin found discipline, community, and direction. He started actively shaping himself into someone that others could rely on, someone who would hold doors open, volunteer, pray with friends, and lead with honesty and humility. And he was smart. Really smart. Kevin first studied at North Seattle College, then went on to the University of Washington, where he graduated magna cum laude with a degree in environmental biology. But academics were only part of the picture. Kevin was deeply committed to protecting the environment. At Yale, he focused his master's research on studying mercury levels in fish from the Quinnipiac River, an issue that impacted the local communities deeply. He worked part-time helping manufacturing companies comply with environmental regulations, ensuring they didn't poison rivers or wildlife. But academics and science were just one side of Kevin's character. Kevin was also a soldier, a proud member of the Army National Guard. He was always pushing himself, mentally, spiritually, and physically. He even had a YouTube channel where he posted workout videos, nutritional advice, and even personal vlogs. Helpful, kind, thoughtful content aimed at helping strangers on the internet. His channel was called Fitness with Kevin. He didn't stop there. He distributed food at homeless shelters, mentored young students, and, perhaps most beautifully, he used music to connect with others. Kevin loved the piano, loved to sing. And if there's one video that will break your heart now in hindsight, it's the one where Kevin lovingly dedicates a vlog to his mother, thanking her for all she sacrificed for him. "It was my dream," he said, "to take care of her the way she took care of me." And he did. Kevin bought a house in New Haven, Connecticut, near Yale, and invited his mother to move across the country from Seattle to live with him. After everything she had done for him, it was his turn to provide for her. By early 2020, Kevin seemed unstoppable: academic success, military service, faith, fitness, and his YouTube channel. But then came something that would complete his life in a way he didn't expect: love. Her name was Zion Perry. She was brilliant, a student at MIT studying molecular biophysics and biochemistry. And just like Kevin, Zion was deeply rooted in her faith. Their meeting seemed like fate. It happened at a Christian retreat in early 2020. Zion hadn't even wanted to go, but her friends encouraged her. On the third day, they were seated next to each other during a prayer session. Participants were asked to pray for the person next to them, and Kevin and Zion prayed for each other. That spiritual connection sparked the beginning of a friendship. Over the following months, they stayed in touch, attending more retreats, calling each other regularly, sharing hopes, fears, music, faith. Eventually, what started as friendship bloomed into love. Long-distance relationships are hard, especially during a pandemic, but they made it work. Kevin would visit Zion in Pennsylvania, and together they would go hiking, kayaking, and gardening. Kevin would play the piano, and Zion would accompany him on the flute. It was, for lack of a better word, idyllic. By early 2021, things were finally lining up perfectly. Zion had been accepted into Yale's PhD program, meaning they would no longer need to do long distance. The future they dreamed of was just starting to materialize. We truly appreciate you staying with us through this story as we uncover the tragic death of Kevin Jiang. As we dive even deeper into this case, take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us continue to shed light on stories like this and bring more untold truths to the surface. On January 30th, 2021, exactly 1 year after the day they met. Kevin proposed to Zion during one of their beloved hiking trips. Friends described Kevin as glowing with happiness, his love for Zion radiating out of him in every gesture. But neither of them knew that their perfect life was about to come crashing down. What Kevin didn't know, what no one could have known, was that somewhere in the background of Zion's life was another man. His name was Jiang Pan. Jiang was a graduate student in computer science at MIT, the same school Zion attended, and he had met Zion sometime before she knew Kevin. Though Zion herself didn't consider their connection romantic. To her, Jiang was just an acquaintance. But as far as Zion was concerned, they were not close. They had met briefly at a party months before the murder, during the summer of 2020, when Zion was still finishing her undergraduate studies at MIT. They were not dating, they were not in a romantic relationship, and they were not in regular contact. According to Zion's own statements, she only remembered meeting Jiang socially at that party, and that was it. They were acquaintances at best. There's no evidence that she gave him any reason to believe they had a future together, or that she was interested in him romantically. But here's where it takes a darker turn. Jiang Pan appears to have developed a disturbing obsession with Zion. It's unclear exactly what went on in his mind, but law enforcement sources indicated that Pan may have fixated on Zion after that brief encounter, forming a fantasy relationship with her that did not exist in reality. The most chilling part? Reports suggest that Pan had looked Zion up online, possibly following her activities through social media or academic circles. And once news surfaced that Zion had gotten engaged to Kevin Jiang, it may have triggered something in him, a combination of jealousy, obsession, and rage. What's important to emphasize is that Zion Perry was an innocent bystander in all of this. She did not maintain any meaningful relationship with Pan, nor did she have any idea that he was following her life or harboring any dangerous feelings toward her. In fact, when questioned by the police, Zion fully cooperated, helping them piece together the limited information she had about Pan. It became evident very quickly that she was a victim too, blindsided by someone she barely remembered meeting, who turned out to be capable of something horrific. But to Jiang, Zion may have represented something else entirely. Rejection, embarrassment, a beautiful, intelligent woman who slipped through his fingers and then fell in love with someone else. December 2020, just weeks before Kevin's murder, New Haven was already dealing with a disturbing pattern of shootings. Between December 11th and February 6th, 4 separate shootings took place across the city. No one was hit, but they were close calls, and residents began growing nervous. No one at the time connected these shootings to Kevin's story. Not yet. On the night of February 6th, 2021, Kevin had just spent the evening with Zion, celebrating their engagement. They had gone ice skating together and shared dinner. It should have been one of the happiest nights of their lives. Around 8:30 p.m., Kevin left Zion's apartment and began driving home. Minutes later, a dark SUV follows him. A slight bump, a deliberate nudge. Kevin pulls over, thinking it's a minor accident. Then, 8 gunshots in rapid succession. Kevin never stood a chance. Police responded quickly, and when they arrived, they found Kevin lying on the street next to his car. He had been shot multiple times in the face and chest, executed in cold blood. Witnesses reported seeing a man running from the scene. Surveillance footage later revealed a vehicle fleeing the area. The murder of Kevin Jiang, Yale graduate student, National Guardsman, devoted son, and soon-to-be husband, rocked the entire community. But as investigators scrambled to figure out who would want Kevin dead, at this point, we're uncovering the heartbreaking murder of someone truly special, a life taken in such a senseless and brutal way. Click that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us keep their story alive and ensures that their voice is never forgotten. Jiang Pan was not on anyone's radar at first. Within hours of the murder, New Haven police were hunting for the SUV seen at the crime scene. A black GMC Terrain. Stolen, ditched, and inside, a Dell laptop bag, a Metro PCS baseball cap, and DNA. The forensic tests came back. Statistically 100 billion times more likely to belong to Kevin Jiang than anyone else. The suspect's name emerged quickly, Jiang Pan. Only, he was already gone. By February 10th, just 4 days after the murder, police officially named Jiang Pan as a person of interest. But Pan was already on the run. While the manhunt intensified, more disturbing details surfaced. Pan had been in possession of a stolen license plate. He was carrying $19,000 in cash, along with his father's passport. He had attempted to hide in his family's home in Duluth, Georgia, before fleeing again. The chase for Pan went on for months. It wasn't until May 14, 2021, over 3 months later, that U.S. Marshals captured him in Montgomery, Alabama. He was living under a fake identity and had been evading capture ever since the murder. It became increasingly clear that jealousy over Zion Perry, a woman who wasn't even dating Pan, had consumed him to the point of violence. It's hard to imagine a more senseless act of cruelty. 29-year-old Jiang Pan was brilliant, a graduate student at MIT, studying artificial intelligence. Published, respected, but beneath the academic awards was something darker, something obsessive. Jiang had met Zion Perry during her studies at MIT. There was no relationship, but rejection isn't something people like Jiang take lightly. Pan pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued about emotional instability, isolation, desperation, but the evidence was overwhelming. DNA found on the stolen SUV directly linked Pan to the scene. In February 2024, Pan finally admitted the truth, pleading guilty to murder. The plea deal spared him a trial, but it did not spare him judgment. April 23, 2024. Pan is sentenced to 35 years in prison. No parole. He apologized softly. "I feel sorry for what my actions caused. I fully accept my penalties." But nothing could undo what he had done. Kevin's family was devastated. His mother, Linda, now alone in the house he had bought for her in New Haven, faced unimaginable grief. Kevin was her only child, her pride and joy. And in an instant, everything they had worked toward together was stolen. But his friends and community refused to let Kevin's story end there. Yale hosted memorials in his honor. The National Guard paid tribute to his service. And in the words of his youth pastor, Kevin wasn't just preparing for a career or for marriage. He was preparing for heaven. But Kevin's life, his real legacy, can't be measured by court cases or news headlines. It's in the thousands of people he inspired with his honesty, his hard work, his music, his love for his mother, and his endless commitment to make the world better for everyone, human and animal alike. It's in every stretch video on YouTube, helping someone's aching back. It's in every river studied more carefully because of his environmental research. It's in the quiet notes of piano music still echoing across the internet. There's no way to tie a neat bow on a tragedy like this. But here's what I'll leave you with. Live like Kevin did. Selflessly. Authentically. And always with love. Thank you for watching this story. If you found Kevin's life as meaningful as I did, consider subscribing to the channel for more true crime stories that focus on the victims, not just the criminals. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and remember, love should never cost you your life.